Today, I want to start out by asking a question. But before I ask this question, I want to just preface it by saying this is a question I really wish somebody would have asked me when I was contemplating and thinking about starting my fat loss journey again. Because if you're like me, I had tried everything. I had tried and failed, and I was on this yo-yo diet, this, hamster wheel that we like to call, starting over all the time. But there was a place before I, decided to do it again for the last time. Gosh, I can't believe it's already been 8 years, y'all. Girl. It's been 8 years. Anyways, I'm not bragging. I'm just saying that's what this episode is going to be about. I'm going to talk with you about lasting sustainable fat loss. But anyway, the question that I'm going to ask, you got to watch out for me because I jump around like that. And by the way, I should say, see, here I go jumping around again. Thank you for loving me anyway. But last week, was it last week or the week before? I think it was the week before. Yeah. There was a song that I was playing on repeat that was like my song of the day, my song of the week. And by the way, somebody called me out on it, and I called me out, but she messaged me and she was like, Anna, by the way, what was that song that you were on repeat? You didn't. I remembered at the end of my episode, after recording that episode, I never told you the song that was on repeat. So I'm going to tell you now for the record, but I did put it in the show notes after she told me. So thank you, Mindy. That song is called She Beat the Odds. It's by Olivia Cross. Okay. Now, back to the question. When I was starting to contemplating my fat loss journey, I wish somebody had asked me this question because I was waiting to be ready. I really was. And the question becomes, what exactly are you waiting to feel ready for? Right? Because if you're a busy woman over 40, chances are you already know a lot about fat loss. I'm just guessing that you do. And you've tried a lot of diets, you've tried programs, challenges, but yet probably maybe this is you, or it's been you feeling stuck in a cycle of starting over like I was. So to ask this, I want to ask this as more like a deeper question. But two things that I want to ask is if you've tried all of these things before and you're still waiting to feel ready to try again, right? What are we ready for what? That's the question. Because the truth is, these are the two things, right? Because the truth is, most of us women over 40, we don't need more information. We already know a lot, right? And we don't need a completely different approach, or do we? I'm not sure, maybe. Today, I'm not going to teach you how to do the fat loss thing. The how always comes. I can show you the how. I've got the how, girl. But what I want to talk about is what and why of sustainable fat loss for us busy women over 40 or 50. Because when you truly understand the foundations, then everything starts to make more sense, right? But maybe, just maybe, you have the foundations, you understand the foundations of the proven methods, the scientific method behind the sustainable fat loss. Maybe you do know the foundations, but maybe you haven't done it differently the way that we do it in RTF. And I'm not here to pitch RTF, although this episode is sponsored by RTF, Rock That Fitness. No, but for real, if somebody said, and I've heard women say this, I'm just not ready yet. When I'm ready, I'll let you know. But I think it's thinking about how you've done it in the past. And so thinking about how you have done things in the past isn't ever going to get you ready for something you haven't done in the future, doing it differently. That's what I'm talking about. And so, yeah, maybe you have all these foundations. So what are you waiting for? You're never going to be ready for doing something you've never done before in a different way. It's going to be different, very different. And it's time for us to have faith and trust. We don't have to be ready to have faith and have trust. So I got a lot of great, exciting things to talk about today. And so, yeah, let's just get into it. Hey girl, welcome back to another episode of Rock That Fitness with Anna Rockstar and you. It's just the two of us here today, girl. Just gonna chat it out. First, right off the bat, I want to remind everybody that Kickstart, my next Kickstart program, is about to kick off on March the 14th, this Saturday. So if you've been on the fence, you've been thinking about joining me for a 6-week guided coaching experience in a small group setting with some other women, this is your invitation. Please join me. I would be so delighted, so happy to be alongside you on your fat loss journey, doing it differently. And check the show notes. Go check the show notes for the link to give you all of the details. And I'll talk a little bit about that later too. But what else do we want to talk about? Updates. As you can see, I'm not exactly branding today. I went out to the beach, had a great walk on the beach right outside of Lively Beach Resort, right there on Padre Island. That's where we're going to be doing Rockstar Retreat 2026 this year. I'm so excited. Have you signed up yet? We have a great group of women already signed up, already, booking their flights, getting their lodging at Lively Beach. Check out the show notes. The link is there. Rockstar Retreat 2026. This is our 5th annual Rockstar Retreat. It's going to be bigger and better than ever. And it's not just for members this year. This year we're opening this up to non-members too. So please, if you've been wanting to come to Rockstar Retreat, this is the year. It's your year. So check out the show notes for that too. Okay, those are the announcements. What else? What updates we have? There's an Anna update. So February came and went. I am happy to report that I think I did pretty darn well on my cut. And even at this phase of my life, girl, it's mind blowing when I think back to when I was struggling with my weight. I mean, for years, I never had gotten to a point where I was actually happy with my body, happy with my weight, none of that. For most of my life. It's crazy when I think back to that. And now not just having maintained my weight loss, but maintaining my fit physique for 8 years. I cannot get over it. It really is 8 years. I have to count it. I'm like, okay, it was 2018, March 2018, when I pretty much had hit my goal weight and I was heading towards my physique that I dreamed of, being a fit chick and having a fit physique, which y'all know that's not everything, right? That's not the most important thing, but that's what I wanted at the time. And nothing wrong with that. And also there were health issues that I was concerned with at the same time. So there's all the reasons. I had all the reasons. But when I think back, it was like March 2018 when I hit that weight goal and I was doing so well. And I was like, I don't feel deprived. I'm doing this consistently. Of course, as a nurse, I have the background of nutrition and I knew I needed to be getting enough protein and, my carbs and healthy fats. I knew this about, but I was also very active in my fitness, my fitness life. And I didn't want to lose that. Anyway, I digress, but the point is 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 2026. It's been 8 years, not since I started my fat loss journey back then. It's been 8 years maintaining my fit physique. And if you don't know this, at the time, I knew that I needed to do something differently and not a diet program, which I'm going to talk a little bit about that today because I had gone back to WW several times, if you don't know that about me, but that was the last time because I had actually done some things very differently. I started strength training on a structured routine. I started, really getting into understanding my cardio and all that kind of stuff. My fitness really mattered. And I had built this body in a different way, different than ever before. And I knew that being on a diet or WW was not going to cut it for this girl because this girl wanted to build muscle, maintain muscle, and it wasn't going to work counting points. And that I needed to truly understand what I needed to do for my specific needs, my fitness level, my activity level, my age, my biology, right? For me. Same thing for you. But that's when the big shift happened for me. Why did I go into that? Why? Why am I telling you that? Girl, I got lost in my talk here. Because that's the update. I have been maintaining this for 8 years. So the update is my cut for February went very well. But the point I wanted to make here is that truly I need to understand that the closer you are, or not the closer, I've been saying the closer you are to your goal weight, the slower the weight loss, the slower the fat loss. But really the way I want to say this differently is that the leaner you are, the longer it takes to shed the fat that you want to shed if you're doing this in a sustainable way, which that's what I do. So I know for myself, being in a cut, I really have to be quite a bit more, I don't know, not restrictive is not the word, just more accurate and consistent. So for the month of February, I was accurate and consistent, and I hit my calorie target range, my calorie deficit range, for a total of 23 days out of, am I saying that right? No, I don't know. Gosh, girl, don't make me do math. Let me just put it like this. 5 days out of February, okay? Yeah, so 23 days out of 28 days. 23 days out of 28 days, I was hitting my calorie target. The other 5 days, I still tracked my food, but yes, I went over my calories on those days. Not crazy over, but I did go over because, Country Boy and I went away on a weekend for Valentine's Day, and I didn't stay within my calories. That's okay. And then there was another day, something else in the month. But point is, I got to the end of February and I'm like, let's do my progress pictures. And I said, no, not there yet. So it's not based on the scale because, girl, if we're basing this on the scale, I can tell you right now that scale would make anybody mad if they were thinking they needed to focus on the scale, because I started out around 149, and then by the end of February, I was like right around 145. But I will tell you this, that does not mean I lost, 5 pounds of fat. And I'm saying that based on my progress pictures, really based on that. And, or how I look in the mirror too, because some of that's water weight as well. So if I was to kind of guess, I would say I probably shed a couple, maybe 2 pounds of fat in the month of February. So 4 weeks of my cut. So I decided I'm going to continue this cut in March. And I'm thinking, I want to say 2 weeks, but I have a feeling it might be a little bit longer than that. So that's where I'm at with my cut. And I say that because I want you to be encouraged if you're on your fat loss journey, you're working on your cut, you're working on shedding some more, you're getting leaner, but you want to get more lean. And by the way, there's no problem. Like, give yourself permission to take a break from it sometimes too. It's important to get out of a calorie deficit, kind of, stable things out and then come back in. And I might do that if in 2 weeks it feels like things aren't budging for myself. I'll make that assessment in 2 weeks. But the point I want to make is that this takes time. For years, women are saying it's going so slow. Well, guess what? Fat loss is slow. I'm here to remind you. I'm here to remind us. It's a slow process. It's supposed to be slow. Fast never works, right? I think I was joking about this on a coaching call, like that whole story of the turtle and the hare, right? That's the facts. Who wins that race? Okay. All right. Well, anyway, my cut's going well. What's happening in my personal life? The house, Country Boy and I seems like constantly working on the house. Well, the next project is our bedroom, and he's been slowly taking things out of there. We already know what color the walls are going to be. We were going to get new furniture, or he was going to build new furniture, but then we decided that he's going to paint the furniture we currently have. So that's fine. That's going to be a whole nother thing. So that's the last room in the house, because he says he's not going to do anything with his office space. So we're good there. That's going to be interesting because we're going to have to move out of our bedroom, and we've already decided what our sleeping arrangements are going to be. I'm going to be sleeping in the guest bedroom, and he's going to be sleeping in the recliner in the living room. And it's just because the bed that's not conducive to his back. So, but he did ask me permission to cuddle me and and fall asleep, wait till I fall asleep and then go to his chair. So sweet. Isn't that so sweet? That's really how it goes. Like, he makes sure I fall asleep and then he goes to sleep. He cuddles me to sleep. All right. Is that TMI? Too bad. Girl, we're friends. It's cool, right? All right, girl, that's enough of that. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. You know, you can always reach out to me in social media on the DMs. I love to hear from you. So please let me know how you're doing. All right, let's get into this episode. Today, I have a lot of different things here that I want to want to talk about. I think it's going to be, some of this is a reminder, but from what I understand, what I've been told is, they're like, Anna, you please keep reminding us. Please tell us, because I say this stuff all the time, girl. You think I don't sound like a broken record to my selfie? I do. I sound like a broken record to my selfie. But I know that's why. I know that's why you're here. I know that's why a lot of women are listening to my podcast, because I'm here to remind you. Maybe there's something new in here that you hadn't heard, and I really hope there will be. So what I want to talk about is, I want to talk about the problems, why so many women feel stuck when it comes to their fat loss. I'm going to talk about how we can reframe some of this stuff about sustainable fat loss. And I'm going to talk about the what. What are the true foundations for fat loss? And you can call them the basics if you want to. And then I'm going to touch on the 3 pillars of Rock That Fitness, because that's my method of how I have done what I do and how I help my clients do what they do. And then I want to talk about what I kind of started to talk about in the beginning, was the fear of starting again or being ready, and a little bit of identity shift. Yeah, we're going to go there again. Nothing wrong with that. I think it's very important that we keep on reminding ourselves of who we are. So the problem, what I see over and over again with the women that I talk to that are struggling with their fat loss, or they come to me and they become one of my clients, and this is what they say. First of all, most of the ladies that I work with, they're incredibly successful women in so many areas of their life already. They are leaders, even if they're leaders in their family. They're professionals. They have careers, full-time jobs. They're managing their careers, their families, lots of responsibilities. I get it. That's me too. But when it comes to their health and their body, then they feel frustrated. And it's not because they don't care. It's because, and it's definitely not because they're lazy. It's because they have tried so many things that didn't last. And so what ends up happening, they start to lose trust in themselves, because this is what happens when we say we're going to do something and then we end up not doing it because we allow life to get in the way. We allow whatever happens, and then we get off course. And then what we feel like we cannot trust ourselves, because that's happened so many times, then we lose trust in ourselves, right? And they think that they start to believe this idea, this story that they're telling themselves, that I always fall off. I can't stay consistent. Or maybe this just doesn't work anymore. And maybe it doesn't work anymore. What doesn't work anymore? Because come on, what we were doing in our 20s, right? It ain't definitely not working for us in our 40s. We've got a whole different life going on, a whole different body going on at this stage. But the truth is, most women didn't fail. They just simply aren't trying a sustainable strategy. So they're trying unsustainable strategies. And so every time life gets busy or stressful, we end up abandoning our health and our fitness. It's like the first easy thing to let go, sadly. And then what is happening? We are reinforcing that identity is. And let me just side note here real quick, ladies, if that's you and you have found yourself in this place again, even you were doing the foundational things and you have found yourself off course, you are not starting over. Let me just assure you, okay? Just right where you are, this is the place in your journey to take a look at what are you believing and going from there. Just a side note, I don't want you to feel discouraged. I mean, you can do it. You can feel discouraged if you want. I don't have any control over your feelings, but you don't need to. You can choose to look at what's happening, what's actually happening, and get curious about it. Because otherwise we start believing this idea, that I'm just someone who can only do this when life is perfect, when life is calm. And if we believe that we can only be successful in our health and our fitness and taking care of ourselves when life is calm and perfect, oh my goodness, we know what's going to happen, right? Nothing. We're going to stay stuck. And we know that life is never calm and perfect. So here is a big reframe. Some of this, like I said, is going to be a reminder, but that's why we talk. Here's the shift that I want you to remember and understand. Sustainable fat loss for busy women like us, it's not about dieting anymore. We don't diet anymore. In fact, even if you are using the foundations that I teach when it comes to calories, macros, calorie deficit, and these kind of things, even if you're laying down these foundations, it's easy to slip into the idea of dieting. But what we really want is, it's really about becoming the woman who lives the habits that naturally create what we're trying to do, which is sustainable fat loss, right? So fat loss itself is not the real goal. And at the end of the day, we're not going to be, once we've built our skills in our food and our nutrition, and we've built this foundation, this lifestyle, this fit lifestyle, we're not going to be necessarily tracking our food. You could. There's no right or wrong about this, but the goal is not fat loss. The goal is establishing our habits, right? And so when fat loss is actually not the goal, the lifestyle is our goal. Now, the byproduct of establishing our healthy habits is going to be not just fat loss, it's going to be a healthy, fit body. We're going to be aging strong. That is the byproduct of establishing our healthy habits. So this lifestyle, that's what we do. We are strength training. We are eating nutritiously in a way that supports our healthy, fit body. And we are continuing to work on our habits and improve ourselves, right? And improve in our self-leadership, not letting ourselves off the hook. I know sometimes women are afraid that if they aren't hard on themselves, that they're going to fall off. But I want to challenge you with an entirely different way to look at this, because truly being hard on ourselves like that is really not helpful. It is most helpful for us to be compassionate with ourselves. Now, having grace for yourself, to me, that's kind of like, that doesn't mean you're, taking yourself off the hook. It means that you're not perfect and it's okay. You're allowed to show up imperfectly. But when these things that we are doing to establish our lifestyle, our healthy lifestyle, are in place, then fat loss stops being something that we're constantly chasing after. It's just going to be the byproduct, because who we're becoming with our habits. And these habits, as we repeat them, just reinforce the identity of who we are becoming and who we're meant to be. I know. We just need these reminders, right? So let's talk about the foundations real quick. Just want to cover these because it's important to note. What does it mean when I say the foundations? Instead of teaching how to do these things, I'm just going to talk about what they are and why, right? And the foundations are strength training, because one of the most important things that we need to be doing after the age of 40 is building and maintaining our muscle mass, because we are going to lose our muscle mass. And as we're aging, we're losing it even faster. And I can attest to this. When I take breaks, I notice that my strength drops way quicker than it used to when I was younger. Even 5 years ago, I notice a difference today if I take a break, how quickly I'm losing my strength and my muscle mass. So just saying, muscle is incredibly important for our metabolism and it's incredibly important for our strength, our bones, our mobility, and our longevity. You're going to hear me say these things too. And I often like to say this, and I know you've heard it, that muscle truly is. It's like the organ. It is the organ of longevity. That is one of the most important things that we need to be doing is strength training on a plan. And let me just say, grabbing a workout plan that's a strength workout is not the same as having a structured strength training program. A structured strength training program, and not just any structured strength training program, I should say, because they're not all created equal. And I can speak for myself. The programs that I create for the ladies in Rock That Fitness they're doing 3-day or 4-day split. Most of them do 3-day split. And 3-day versus 4-day a week strength training is not better than the other. It's just split up differently. But the goal is that we're hitting all of our muscles at least once or twice during that week, where we are building, improving, and progressing. And we do 6-week programs in here inside of RTF. But the point is, we need to be strength training for our longevity. It's not just about how our body looks anymore, although there's nothing wrong with wanting to look our best, right? So we are protecting muscle. Doing strength training is protecting our health as we age, obviously. Then the next one, and our bone density. Did I mention that? I should have if I didn't, but I think I did. Nutrition, this is the next foundation, and that is that calories still matter. And it matters what kind of calories we're eating, because the days of just being in a calorie deficit to lose weight are behind us. Okay, we are aging, and in order to age, we want to age strong and healthy. And the only way to do that is to ensure that we're nourishing our body with whole foods. Now, I know that if that's not you and you're like far from doing that, it's just something that you'll work on. It's a skill where you will build slowly over time, improving on your health with nourishing your body with whole foods. Calories matter. Protein is even more important. Getting optimal protein is important. And here's the thing, you can do the calculation, 0.8 grams up to 1 gram per goal body weight in pounds per goal body weight. Okay. But you might say, oh my gosh, Anna, that's a lot of protein. 1 gram per goal body weight. I weigh 150. I'm not me. I don't weigh 150. I'm making an example. If I weigh 150, that's 150 grams of protein, Anna. That's too much. That's a lot of protein. Well, don't start there. Titrate up. And here's the other thing. I want you to remember this. As you're aging, your body isn't processing protein nearly as efficiently as it did in the past. So it's that much more important that you are working up on your protein. And like I said, food quality really matters. We need to be getting a variety of produce, the greens, leafy greens, all the vegetables and some fruits and berries. These things are so important. Lean meats for our protein, some healthy fats. I love a good avocado and some nuts. I love to eat pistachios and almonds and walnuts. And so just be mindful. Nutrition is one of the biggest, most important foundations when it comes to our fat loss, and it does matter. So while you can eat whatever you want to when you're on a fat loss journey, that's fine. But if you want the best results, then I highly recommend that you are eating mostly whole foods in their most simplest form, simple ingredients, not a lot of different ingredients and a lot of processed stuff, but just the simple things, simple basics. So what's happening too, I should mention this, is a lot of women think, well, I'm trying to lose weight and I'm not losing weight and I'm eating all healthy foods, Anna. Well, you can still be in a calorie surplus gaining weight even while eating healthy food, because it comes down to making sure if you're trying to lose fat, you need to be in a calorie deficit. And I'm not talking about restrictive, but eating as much as you're able to eat, eating as many calories as you can while still being in a calorie deficit. It has to happen, because just trying to eat healthy where there's no real structure to support your goal, that's not going to get you to your goal. You need a structure. You need a structure that creates clarity. And how we do that in Rock That Fitness is you could either, track all of your food for a good week or two to know, without, trying to hit a target, to know what is your maintenance. Knowing your maintenance. Most women don't even know what their calorie maintenance is. Even I track to know what my calorie maintenance is if I'm about to go into a cut, because life changes, bodies change, and things are changing. And so what would be my maintenance today could be very different than it was a year ago. I don't know, right? And also what's going on in my life. I'm not as active because of my knee, an injury or something like that. So my activity level has dropped. So you got to know what your maintenance is. From there, you can deduct calories to be in a calorie deficit, or you can do a simple calorie calculation, 12 times your goal body weight, and start with that. That's a starting number. Just remember that. That doesn't mean. Start with that, be accurate with that, be as consistent as you can with it for 30 days. And then at the end of 30 days, evaluate. Did it, what happened? Because that's a starting number for a calorie deficit. It's not the number, but it starts to get you closer to knowing where you are and what really is at the end of that month. So you need to have structure, right? That way it's going to reduce overwhelm. You can trust what you're doing is really getting you to your results. And then consistency in our habits, because fat loss isn't going to happen just because we had 2 perfect weeks. We have to show up consistently. I saw somebody recently in one of the social media platforms. They had the crybaby emojis in there, like, I was doing so great and all of a sudden now nothing's happening. Well, stay consistent. Just keep doing what you're doing. Stay consistent with these basics, because sometimes it seems like nothing's happening, but you have to keep going. It's going. That's what I'm talking about, staying consistent. It happens because what we repeat consistently over time is going to show the results, not what we do for 1 week or 2 weeks. We got to keep on doing the same thing. And if you remember in science class, if you're doing an experiment, you don't change the variables in the middle, right? You got to go all the way through the process, collecting your data. That's having a system in place and staying consistent, because consistency is the real driver of results, not perfection. Definitely not perfection, because perfection is the lowest standard you could ever have for yourself, because it's going to always end up in disappointment, because there's no such thing as perfection. And also consistency, you can't rely on motivation. You have to rely on dedication, commitment, the commitment you have to who you are, and keep showing up. This just consistent habits repeated long enough, okay, for the body to respond. So long enough is not 1 week, right? Okay, cheers. Time to chug the jug. Actually, my cup. Drink some water. All right. So, those are the foundations, and these are the foundations that I coach on. This is what I believe on. This is what I've been doing all these years. Whether I'm in a fat loss phase, whether I'm in a maintenance phase, I can't honestly say that I have not done a bulk phase. I haven't had to do a bulk phase, because I think I probably have done some bulk phases inadvertently, if that makes sense. Whenever I wasn't tracking and eating probably in a surplus and, pushing the weights heavier, I probably was in a bulk at that time. But these are the basics. And I also want to just mention, for the record, if you are serious about your fat loss, don't make exercise the big driver, because it's not. The driver of your fat loss will be it's in your nutrition. Yes, exercise helps, of course, but exercise, when you think about this, if you want to just think about the percentage of calories your body is burning in a day, the majority of that is your BMR, your basal metabolic rate. That's the majority of your calories. That's like about 70 to 75% of the calories your body is burning is just your basal metabolic rate, how many calories you need just to exist. But exercise is only accounting for 5 to 7%. That's not very much. So your driver of fat loss needs to be your nutrition, because that's the area that you can control. We can't control how many calories our body's burning. We don't have control over that, but you know how many calories you are burning. So please do yourself a favor and focus on that, because too many women are thinking, I've just asked women just out of the blue, they're exercising, and I'm like, what's your goal? And they're, exercising hard, and they're like, I'm trying to lose weight. And I'm just like, that's hard, because that's not the driver. The driver is nutrition. No, I don't coach them, and they're not asking me. I'm just like, oh, that's great. Just have a conversation. It's not, if somebody hasn't hired me to be their coach, believe me, I don't have the right to say a word. But I'm just saying, I know a lot of women are trying so hard to exercise off the fat. It helps, but it's not the driver. And how I teach sustainable fat loss is with these basics: strength training, nutrition for fat loss, right? Strength training and your fitness. We do talk about activity and cardio, and mindset. And mindset is huge. And it is actually, in my opinion, the most important thing, right? Because if we don't change the way that we think and shift our identity of who we are, then we are not going to have sustainable fat loss, because we will continue to fall right back into the same old patterns, same behaviors as we were in the past. And this can happen even if you are doing the foundational things. If you haven't shifted your mindset in terms of who you are and who you're showing up to, who you are each day, and it needs to be coming from a place in your heart. You can't just every day, like a robot. I am a woman who shows up. I am a woman who eats healthy, and I am a woman who works out. You can do that. Maybe at some point your subconscious mind will believe you, but girl, you owe it to yourself to believe it in your heart. Love yourself in that place, that deep place where you feel it, where you can feel the self-compassion. Take some time each day with yourself. Be alone. Love yourself. Care for yourself. And feel it in your heart that you are truly becoming who you're meant to be. That identity is going to be different. I'm going to get to that too in a minute. I'm getting ahead of myself here, because I get excited about that. Strength training is going to build your body. Nutrition is going to support your goals with your body, and your mindset is what is going to determine those habits will actually stick. Okay? Because if the mindset isn't there, as I said, those habits won't last. You can do things for a while, but if you don't change the way you think, truly don't get in touch with your emotions and behaviors and beliefs of why you're doing what you do, then I'm going to be the big meanie to tell you that's not going to help. Your habits aren't going to stick. I want your habits to stick for you, and I know you want your habits to stick also. And I also know that it takes courage, and I just want you to know that it does. It really takes courage to admit that and to take a look at our emotions and why we're doing what we do and get curious about it, removing the judgment of what. But that's all the mindset stuff. These things are important, right? The strength training, nutrition, mindset. That's what we do in RTF. And so now I want to touch on this idea of the fear that comes up when we start thinking about when we want to start again, but we have a fear, right? Because another thing I see with women who are busy, like we all are, is this fear of trying, which I hear this a lot. I'm trying. I haven't even touched on this topic in a very long time, but can we just remember that trying is not doing? And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be mean. So funny. Am I being mean? But here's the thing. When we say we're trying, what we're really doing is giving ourselves a way out. It's like a sneaky back door. If I say I'm trying, then that means I'm not committed. I'm just trying. It's giving yourself a way out. How about just say, I am doing this. I am working on improving this, right? Because there's this fear that comes up. There's this fear of failing again, because you have tried diets. We have tried diets. We have tried different programs. We've tried pushing ourselves really hard with exercise. And when those things didn't last, what happens? Failure, right? We feel like we've failed. But what's really happening? What's beneath all that? A feeling. There's a feeling behind it. What we're really afraid of is not messing up as much as the feelings. We're afraid of those emotions that's tied to it. Is that deep? Those strategies were simply not sustainable. That's all it is. These strategies weren't sustainable. The approaches we took in the past weren't sustainable, and they were setting us up for defeat, the dieting mentality and all of that. Extreme dieting, over restricting, doing tons of cardio. Those approaches might create quick results for a short period of time, but it's not sustainable, right? And sustainable change is not dramatic. In fact, anything that is worth anything and matters and that's great does not happen dramatically overnight. But for some reason, in our little human minds, we imagine and believe it can, but it doesn't. The truth is, it takes time. It takes consistency with the right strategy. It takes repetition. It takes patience. And it's actually surprisingly simple. But too many women are chasing after what's the next trendy diet? The next trendy thing. And I know some of us are thinking, yeah, everybody's out there doing GLP-1. Look, I'm not against GLP-1s, by the way. I think I need to put a plug in here for what my opinion is on GLP-1 medications. They're here to stay. They're out there. People are using them. And I don't think that they're for everyone, but they are for some people. And I think they're a great tool for some people who need them. But you still need to do these basics, even if you are on a GLP-1. You still need to create the habits for the nutrition that your body needs to sustain health and your fitness. You still need to show up and do your strength training, especially more important when you're on one of those meds. Okay, I'm not going to get into it. But the point is, GLP-1s, you still need to do all the basics. You still need to show up for yourself with your nutrition, your strength training, and establishing the healthy habits. Cheers. Another swig. Okay, now it's the fun part. I'm going to talk about the identity shift again. I can't get enough of this. And it's something that has really become so much more on my mind lately. And every day during my meditations, I am very much, it's because it's got to be a practice. We have to practice this new identity and getting to know this new identity, right? Because we've been the old identity for so long. That's familiar. We already know her. We know how she acts. We know how she behaves. We know her patterns and her thoughts. But this new identity, we're getting to know, which takes practice and repetition. And we're saying, what does the best version of me do in this situation? What does the best version of me do in anything, right? And practicing that, repeating it, right? Because repetition is the mother of success. Repetition is the mother of results. Repeat, repeat, repeat. And what's happening when we repeat these things, the healthy habits and behaviors? Our subconscious mind starts to truly believe us, and we start to act in this way naturally. It becomes second nature, but we have to keep on repeating, not perfectly, but consistently. And it starts with the identity. This is where we start deciding, who are you becoming, girl? Who are you becoming? Because if you're not doing anything, you're staying the same, and you're going to continue to repeat past patterns. So instead of saying, I'm trying to lose weight, we start saying things like, I'm the woman that trains my body, right? And I support my body with healthy foods. Like I'm going to be talking like this. Like you're going to be walking around talking to your friends. I'm the woman that supports her body with, I'm not talking like that. I'm talking like saying this to yourself. Like, this is the me that does this. This is the me who doesn't start over anymore. This is the me who realizes I'm human and I can just start over right now. I can just eat a healthy meal, my next healthy meal. I can just show up in my next training. I don't have to double up on workouts. I don't have to punish myself with food. This is the me that does this the right way, the way that supports my health and my fitness and my strong body as I'm aging. So these are the things we're saying to ourselves, right? Because we don't need more motivation. We don't need more information. This is the key, like really leaning into your identity. Because when we do that, the new identity is the woman who questions, who asks the questions. Why am I doing this? Without judgment. That's what your new identity does. Your new identity says, this is what's going on. I see it. Now, what steps do I need to take to ensure that I am supporting my health and my fitness? Those are the things that we do with the new identity. And speaking of that, so I think this is I'm going to go ahead and just kind of like a little segue because this week we are, I am open for a Kickstart program, 6-week Kickstart program for small group coaching. But also, as a reminder, you don't need to wait. If you want to just join Rock That Fitness, the doors are open. I'll make sure that link is also in the show notes because my Kickstart program is a part of membership. We have Kickstart for members. This whole 6 weeks, you can do self-paced inside of the membership if you don't want to join the 6-week Kickstart. Okay, so that's in there. But the point I want to make here is that if you're waiting to be ready, you're never going to be ready because you haven't done it this way. This way, the RTF way, with the foundations, but with a focus on your mindset and doing things differently and I say do it scared. You know that do it scared thing, we say that, like, just do it scared. I don't want to say do it scared. I just want to say you can recognize these emotions and what may be holding you back, the fear of failure. But when you can recognize that you're going to mess up, it's not going to be perfect, and be comfortable with the uncomfortable, like start getting comfortable being uncomfortable. That's how things are going to change for you. That's how you're going to have sustainable fat loss. You want that, right? If you want that, do it this way. Get curious about what is holding you back. Because you can't be ready for the uncertain. And I say uncertain because you haven't done it this way. And I know that because if you have been struggling and struggling and struggling, and you're showing up right now still struggling, then you haven't done it this way. We haven't identified changing the behavior, changing the identity, and doing this in a way where you'll never need another diet again. Doing this in a way where you can finally have confidence in knowing you're doing what you need to do for your body and start learning to show up, not perfectly, but consistently, and trust. Not just trust the strategy, the true strategy, the proven methods for fat loss and recompositioning your body to get stronger, healthier, and build that brick house. Okay? But doing this in a way where you're going to be trusting not just this process, but yourself. Because down the road, you're not going to be worried about any situation, whether it's a holiday, whether it's a birthday, whether it's a spontaneous hot date out with your hubby or your significant other. You won't be worried about what to do and how to navigate situations because you will build up these habits to a point where you can trust yourself and you're no longer going to need a diet. You no longer need that. And that's the beauty here inside of RTF, the women in RTF. My ultimate goal is coaching women to a point where they trust themselves. They don't need to have somebody holding them accountable, holding their hand, guiding them all the time. No, because you've been successful in other areas of your life. You can do the same thing right here, girl. The beauty of Rock That Fitness and small group coaching and our group is the support, because life never slows down, and there's always something. There's always going to be a crisis. There's always going to be ups and downs, all the things. Life is lifing all the time, but having the support. When you don't have the support and you're on your journey and things happen, who do you turn to? Because I don't know about you, but people in my life and around my daily life, not the support I need when I'm working on my health and my fitness. That's why we have such a great thing inside of RTF, and I want to invite you to join us, whether you join Kickstart or our membership. So that's pretty much what I have to share with you. I'm very passionate about what I do, and I love you and I care about you. And if you are experiencing some kind of feelings about like, I'm on the fence, I don't know what it is, I'm not here to convince you, but I want you to be fully informed about everything. And if you have questions, please just reach out to me or send me an email, and I'm happy to answer it if this is a great fit for you. Because if it's not, I understand. I'm not here to convince you, but I want you to be fully informed. So if you have questions, let me know. So just want to close up by saying, fat loss for us busy women over 40, it's not about doing extremes. It's definitely not about doing extremes. It's about becoming consistent enough, long enough that your body finally has the chance to change. And when the habits are in place, then you become a changed person, right? And the identity starts to change. Everything changes. Everything changes when your identity changes. That's it. That's all I got. So I really do hope that there was something in this episode that spoke to you, that helped you, or even just reminded you and, maybe put a fire back under you. I know we all need that sometimes. Even today, I put my little sticker on my calendar today for yesterday being day 4 on my cut in March. We're in March. It's not day 4 of my cut, but day 4 on the calendar of March. And I had that thought, like, that creeps into my mind too. This is taking a long time. See, I think it too. But then it's like, well, it's supposed to. Anyway, I really do hope this spoke to you today, girl. And I'm here to support you and care for you. And if you need anything, I'm here. Just reach out. So remember, self-care, self-love all day, every day, in all the ways. Do I have your word? Good. Rock on.